Like listening to Toxic Radio?
Goddamn right.
Well, don't forget, this is the 21st century. Join us in the social media world. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pornhub.
Pornhub?
Nah, just kidding. Or am I? Toxic Radio. Get infected.
Master, dinner is served. Igor, it's not that I don't appreciate the effort, but you know I prefer my meals uncooked. And how many times have I told you about using garlic? Yes, Master. Forgive me, Master. Please. Bite into Paradelphia. Thursday nights at 8, only on Toxic Radio. Paradelphia, because what if it's all true?
Hey, buddy. Rah. Hey, man, that's a sweet heavy metal happy hour t-shirt. Where'd you pick that up?
Thanks, dude. I got it at the Toxic Radio shop.
Toxic Radio has a shop?
Yeah, dude. It's in the app or online at toxicradio.net.
That is sweet.
Yeah, and I also got a rockin' Toxic Radio hoodie and a Red Band Underground shirt. Dude, I'm gonna look so rockin' at the party tomorrow.
Well, I think you look pretty now.
Oh, wait, what?
The Toxic Radio shop is the place to get all your Toxic Radio gear. Shirts, hoodies, stickers. Find it at toxicradio.net or on the app. Don't buy it safe. Buy it toxic. Hey, where you going, man?
Welcome to show 37, Wire to Wire. This is show Eric Desjardins. People are going to get really defensive tonight. Show Meta World Peace. Because people are going to, maybe some people will hold the peace. But show 37, to my right, I'm your host, Gene Walzak. To my right, I got the man, the myth, the legend, Scholastic Shally, Uncle Shally.
What it do? Let's go.
Oh, he gave us a little
he
nod.
said something for the podcast,
Right.
guys.
I got in trouble for waving last week.
To my left, I got Kent State's own, Cleveland's own. The MacBook is out. College Cottrell.
Yes, sir.
Guys, we got a lot to get into. I'm still pissed off. Like, literally, I'm still pissed off. Sunday night's Game 7 in the Philadelphia 76ers. Atlanta Hawks still has me angry. We're going to get into that. We're going to talk about, obviously, Bucks Hawks, which open up tonight. We'll talk about the Suns Clippers, already 2-0 Suns. Chris Paul will be back for a Game 3.
Series is over.
We got Campbell's Corner. We got audio for Campbell. NHL, break down those two series, which Montreal, I don't know what's going on. They're up 3-2. Could they win the series? They
Absolutely, they could.
Carey Price, bro.
Venue bracket. We're going to do our Final Four with that. We got the Euro Cup. We got Wimbledon. We got MLB talk. We're going to recap a crazy U.S. Open.
It's a great U.S. Open.
Bryson DeChambeau. We got a lot to get into it. Plus, you got to be kidding me. I got a special little video for you fellas. For you got to be kidding me. So let's get started. You know what? I feel like I need my heart to get a second to warm up. Let's talk about the game that happened last night. Suns Clippers. Let's get into that series. Suns up 2-0. Jay Crowder with the best pass. And DeAndre Ayton with the stuff. Monty Williams, a great coach, knowing the rules. That'll be a theme tonight. Monty Williams drawing up the perfect play, and Jay Crowder feeding it to him on a silver platter. Devin Booker, star player, setting the pick. That play was huge. But the thing that we'll talk about a lot is playoff P, pandemic P. Missing 2 free throws down the stretch.
Got to start with Paul George there.
Well, so let's start with them, Shally.
I mean, listen, the narrative on him for a long time has been he's a great regular season player. He disappears in the postseason. He's kind of turned that a lot this year. I mean, especially with Kawhi Leonard out, he's played really well. I don't know if the Clippers fans would want anybody else on the line right there with 2 to make them go up 3. And, at worst case, you're going to overtime if Phoenix can find out to make it 3 with a second to go. And missed them both. First one rattled in and out. Second one was real tight. Second one, pretty much as soon as it left his hand, you knew it wasn't going in.
He missed the first one short, second one.
Yeah. And I mean, it's. You hate to see it. I mean, I don't like anybody to get, for lack of a better term, like humiliated like that. But I mean, he's also the reason they're in the games right now. I don't think we're getting Kawhi. I've said that from the get-go. Even if it's a ACL sprain, he's not playing in this series. You already mentioned it. Phoenix is getting Chris Paul back for Game 3. They're up 2-0 without him. I'm pretty solidified in that series is over for me. They might get swept. So
I don't know, man. For whatever reason, LA has been making the adjustments. They went down 0-2 in their first 3 series at this point. They lost 0-2 to Utah, 0-2 to Dallas. Everyone's counting them out twice now.
yeah.
I do not want to just count out the Clippers at this point.
Phoenix is a little bit different animal, and they're getting a player back that makes them
Better.
significantly better. So,
And, the hero last night wasn't Devin Booker. Like, game 1 was Devin Booker. Devin Booker was unbelievable. And then, people with their clickbait calling him the next Kobe Bryant, which is absolutely ridiculous.
well, one idiot did that.
Yeah, well, that's so stupid. I have to at least bring it up. That's national news. But last night was not Devin Booker.
No, he played well. I mean, he wasn't. Yeah, I mean,
To his standards, I wouldn't say he played well, but I mean, he played well enough for them to be in that game. But we know who the hero of last night was outside of DeAndre Ayton.
Yeah.
Guy who was consistently, holding that team together was Cameron Payne. He played out of his mind yesterday, and he played like the guy who's in front of him who has the job normally. I mean, he put up 29 and 9 assists with no turnovers. So he had a lot of confidence last night, and those guys really had it going. I mean, that whole fourth quarter, the last minute and a half of the fourth quarter yesterday was completely insane, like utterly insane. But, I mean, I got to give Phoenix credit. You talked about Monty Williams. Monty Williams drew up a hell of a play. And for the Suns in that situation, I mean, that was a win-win. If they switch off and Devin Booker gets a good look with the mid-range, you throw it to him and, you go for it that way. The way they had it, DeAndre Ayton on Zubac couldn't get through the screen, and Crowder threw him the perfect pass.
See, the thing that I look at when I look at that game is Phoenix tried throwing that game away with 90 seconds left.
Absolutely.
They tried throwing that game away. They missed shots. They turned the ball over. Devin Booker with the offensive foul. Mikal Bridges with the turnover. Missed shots. Down the stretch, they were up 6, right? I think they were up 6, 105-99 with a minute 30 left, and then they went down, or it might have been like 101-95, but whatever.
Because I think the final was, 104, 103 or something like that.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I think they were up 6 with 90 seconds left.
Oh, that's right.
And it went all the way back to the Clippers having the ball up 1 and them having to foul Paul George with 8 seconds left.
Crazy thing is that up until the fourth quarter, Paul George was having a rather pedestrian type game.
Yep.
I mean, he wasn't playing great. Fourth quarter, he really turned it on, and he had the shot that put them up to begin with. So, before that, it was like, all right, Paul George just finally, put these demons to bed, it seems like. And he would have been the reason that they won that game.
I got a comment. That's a perfect name. Ayton called it the value oop. That's perfect.
It is.
Perfect. Michael Robert Lafferty, thank you on the wire line. But, I mean, I look at NBA players differently than a lot of people do. And I get that. I understand that. We're about to get into it a little bit more. But I look at NBA players a little bit differently. I look at players that are great NBA players that are scared of the moment, that aren't ready for the moment. I look at great NBA players that embrace the moment. Playoff P or pandemic P has been Jekyll and Hyde. Because you don't know. But, like, when I look at Paul George, when I look at him with 2 seconds left, I have no confidence he will hit the game winner. None. And I look at that, and there's a lot of players in the league I look at, like, I don't think they're clutch. And I really think that matters. Like, some people will drive this dagger to stake through your heart, and they'll have it. Like your Kobe's, your Mike's, your Trae Young's. Like right now, honestly, you can look at different players in the NBA and see fear when the moment comes. I'll give you a couple examples. CJ McCollum, Bradley Beal, Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, Paul George. There are players that don't want the moment. Players that do, you got Dame time. Like, you got Trae Young. You got players that have the nuts to knock those shots down, and you got players that don't. Any thoughts on those lists?
I think CJ is more of a Jekyll and Hyde guy, because you got to remember, too, CJ was the guy who sent Denver home a couple years ago. CJ was the guy who essentially led that Blazers team to Western Conference Finals from Game 7 of that Nuggets series. So CJ can be that guy. Definitely makes it a lot easier when you have Dame over there and you don't have to be relied on as much. And I think that's part of it too, because it's like Dame is arguably the clutchest player in the NBA. Correct. So the fact that I'm playing alongside this guy, chances are we're giving him the ball anyway, so I don't have to do anything. So I don't know if I can, for sure throw CJ in that category yet, just because he really hasn't had too many opportunities to be that guy. Granted, I know this year he turned the ball over Game 6, and he just looked like he wasn't ready to be in that situation.
Deer in the headlights.
But I've seen it in the past where CJ has been that guy to step up. So
okay.
I'm
So
not
is
quite
that the
ready
only
to
one?
throw.
Is that the only one you
That's the
disagree
only
with?
one I'm not quite ready to throw on that list yet.
Any of them you agree or disagree with what I said?
No, I like your list. I think it's, and to his point, CJ was the one that kind of stuck out to me. And I also look at it, if you're in that situation and you give the ball to CJ and CJ's still ready to take it and miss, you kind of get double, people are going to, second guess you because Dame is on the floor. Exactly. Dame is on that team. It's hard to get in any situation like that where Dame isn't going to be the first option on a play like that. So that would be my only argument for CJ. The rest of them, I agree with. I mean, I know we're going to get into some of it probably in a little bit, but.
So I really I need a warm up because we're about to do the Eastern Conference. We're about to do the Eastern Conference, and I have to. The trade talks. We'll get into those. I appreciate that, Michael Lafferty. I'll get into that. The thing that needs to start with this is this, and the Philadelphia 76ers collapse was not just Game 7. It wasn't, and if anybody thinks it was just Game 7, it's not just Game 7.
Starting Game 1.
Game 1. I don't even look at that as the collapse because they went up 2-1. They took back home court. I don't look at that as part of the collapse. When you blow a 19-point lead in Atlanta, a 26-point lead in Philadelphia in games 4 and 5, that's the start of the collapse. Losing 3 out of the last 4 to Atlanta, that's the collapse.
It's still part of it, though. When you have home court advantage, you cannot come out in Game 1 flat like that and look like you're underprepared. They looked unprepared for that game. They didn't know how to guard. They didn't know how to guard Trey in that game. They played him 3 times this year. Like, they should have had a better game plan of what they were doing. And again, I'll get in more of this with Doc when we get to it. But
we're there.
All right. Well, Doc, that team cannot come out and look like that in Game 1 of an Eastern Conference semifinal. And that falls on nobody but him. They came out. Their game plan was shit. They didn't know how to guard Trey. Trey, 38 in the first game, 39, whatever it was. Can't happen. You're the whole reason you have home court advantage. You have to go out and you have to win Game 1. If you lose Game 2 and split, it's not the end of the world. You go out and you're putting yourself behind the 8 ball from the absolute get-go of the series. You're down 1-0. You get blown off the court in the first game. Can't happen. Can't happen.
So it's funny you say that because I wrote down, in my opinion, the responsibility meter of like the top 2 people for each game. Okay, so for Game 1, it was Doc Rivers. And it was very tough. I was going to say, I wrote Danny Green down as the second guy, but I don't think it was really his fault as much as Doc's fault for putting him in that position. Like, if I had to put the meter up there, it would be 80-20 Doc Danny for Game 1. Okay? For Game 4, it was Joel, then Ben. Joel was 1. He missed a million shots in that game.
That was the 4 for 20 game?
Correct.
Okay.
That was a Joel 1, Ben 2. Game 5 was Toby. He went like 4 for 22 or whatever it was. Absolutely terrible. And then Ben. That was the game that they did the hack at Ben. He was 4 for 14 from the line. That was terrible. Game 7 was Ben. I don't even give a second for Game 7. I can't put it on Doc. I can't put it on Joel. I can't put it on Toby. Toby was aggressive. He was 8 for 26, but he was aggressive. I have to put that entire game on Ben Simmons. You get paid $33 million a year and you're not on the floor for the last minute of the game. You have a wide open dunk. It's a 2-point game. You're at home. You can get your crowd dead set into the game. You make a move on Gallinari. You see 6'1" Trae Young. You dunk that ball on his fucking face. That's unbelievable. You cannot do that. Like, listen, I'm a diehard Sixers fan. I will not root for this team if Ben Simmons is on the team next year. I will be a Suns fan next year, and that's that. Ben Simmons, like, dude, if I seen this dude walking down the street with his girlfriend, I'd hit on her because that bitch ain't doing shit. I'm so sick of him, bro. Look, you laugh all you want, bro. I'm sick of him.
I still
He's
don't know what to
scared.
do with anything. I mean,
That's a good point, Don. We'll get into it. We'll get into it.
Yeah.
You can get into Doc all you want. The fact that you have a coward, the scarecrow, the cowardly lion on your roster year after year after year. It's 5 years he hasn't learned how to shoot a jump shot. He shot better in the summer league. He's digressed. I can't take it anymore. I can't. Look, dude, I was a very advocate for him for Defensive Player of the Year. 100%. I argued for him. He plays great defense, good regular season guy. When he's not on national TV, he's a great player. He can play basketball, but when the lights shine bright, that guy goes into a shell and is scared. You've seen it in the Toronto series with Jimmy Butler when Brett Brown was like, all right, Jimmy, I'm going to have you run the offense when Ben's been running it all year. And we're like, what the hell just happened? Why is that happening? Like, and then next year, I guess he was hurt. Okay, whatever. This year, you've seen it. You can't shoot 32% from the free throw line as an NBA starter.
I'll give you this year.
You didn't see it in Toronto?
Toronto, I think, was kind of out of his hands.
How about 4 years ago versus Boston when they played a 5-on-4?
He's a freaking rookie, bro. I mean, but again, this is something where I'm not arguing that Ben had a horrible Game 7. I'm not arguing that he was probably the biggest problem throughout the entire series. I am going to argue about all the other crap that went on in Game 7 between Doc, between JoJo, between Matisse's terrible foul with a minute to go. All that crap led to them losing the game. All of it. It's so more than I'm getting tired of hearing Ben. Nobody wants to talk about JoJo's 8 turnovers. Nobody wants to talk about Clint Capella having the best game of the series in Game 7, dunking on JoJo 3 times. Nobody wants to talk about Matisse's absolute. He's not a rookie anymore. An absolute bonehead. You want to talk about getting the crowd. All that crap, that took the crowd out of the game. It was a dumb foul. He's not a rookie anymore. He knows better. He knew it as soon as he did it that he was wrong. 3 free points for Atlanta to give him the lead with a minute to go and make it a 2-possession game. That sucked. That hurt us. Doc's coaching in Game 7 was mind-blowingly bad. As much as we mentioned in Game 1, his rotations, the people he kept subbing in and out, made no sense. Nobody wants to talk about Seth Green absolutely getting owned by a bench player.
Seth Curry?
Yep.
So Seth Curry, hold on. Before you want to talk about Seth Curry.
Okay.
That's more on Doc than it is on Seth.
Okay, well, fine.
And I'll give you credit for that, but that's not Seth Curry's fault that a 6'7" guy is shooting over him. What they did was they wanted to play Matisse on the floor because Ben – and, dude, you know what the crazy part is? Yes, you can blame a lot of it on Doc, but a lot of the blame that you put on Doc has to do with the way Ben Simmons was playing in that series because Matisse doesn't need to be on that floor. He doesn't. If Ben's on the floor, Matisse shouldn't be on the floor.
Okay.
And I've said that over and over and over again.
But when you put Matisse on the floor for 24 minutes and you keep putting him on the floor when he has 2 points, George Hill played 22 minutes, had 2 points and a rebound and nothing else.
Played good defense.
That's why you have Matisse on the court too, though.
Correct.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Okay.
I agree with you. I agree with that point. And I think Doc, look, bro, when we broke this down, we just had different percentages. For the entire series, I put 70% of it on Ben Simmons. I told you 20% of it's on Doc. I told you that. I agree with that.
Okay.
You just have it higher.
Correct.
Okay, that's fair. I just don't agree.
And I said from the get-go, Ben was number 1. Like that, I never ever said that I was abstaining him from any of this. Doc got out-coached in the first series and got away with it just because we were simply that much better than Washington.
Agreed.
He couldn't make adjustments in Game 2. The thing that even sold it to me was in Game 7, they had that one timeout. They had a camera in our huddle, and they had a camera in Atlanta's huddle. The 2 messages that came from those 2 coaches were so night and day different in the game. Doc's message pretty much was, we're okay in transition, pretty much run faster is pretty much what he said.
Well, he said we got to get stops.
Yeah.
And he was basically alluding to
But nothing strategic.
You're right. That's fair.
They go to
He was
Nate
alluding
McMillan's. Keep running your sets. Every time you guys get the ball where you want
Drive
to, we
the
can't
lane.
stop you. Drive.
Yep.
If they stop you, kick out.
I remember the same huddle.
Yes, you're getting this. You're getting the shots you want. Don't change anything. The 2 messages couldn't be any freaking different. He got out-coached. Ben got outplayed. Not going to argue that. JoJo was our best player for the entire series. I'm not going to argue that. But he had bad games. He didn't have a great Game 7 either. People keep saying the word great. That's not a great Game 7. It was good. He played well. He was our best player, as he should be. It wasn't great. KD's Game 7 was great. That's a great Game 7. JoJo's 31 points, 10 boards, 8 turnovers, and shitty defense is not a great game in my opinion.
So let me throw him a little bit of a life lesson. We talked about this earlier. I'm going to throw him a little bit of a life jacket.
He's 4th or 5th on the list for me.
I get it, but I want to throw him a life jacket because I feel like Philadelphia fans and fans out there should hear this and hear it from me. I understand your point. 16 turnovers in the last 2 games for Joel Embiid, 8 in Game 6, which they won, 8 in Game 7, which they lost, is unacceptable. There's 2 things that I will give him a little bit of a life jacket for. One, if he said, I have a torn meniscus and I cannot play this series, we lose that series in 4, right? Maybe 5?
Yeah, I mean, who knows? Yeah, but yeah, I mean, we lose the series. Yeah, I'm not going to make an argument for anything else.
So him playing in that series and him giving us an opportunity and leading us in scoring almost every game except one is my one life jacket. The second life jacket I'm throwing him is this. And Control, I want to get your points too. I'm sorry. I keep talking over you.
I understand.
The part that drives me nuts the most is you guys know basketball. You guys watch a ton of basketball. I'm not going to insult your intelligence at all. You cannot run that offense with Ben Simmons on the floor when John Collins is doubling off him every time because they know he's not going to shoot. They know he's scared. They're clogging the lane. You cannot run an offense through a 7-footer. They're running the offense with a 7-footer running ISO ball. Bro, Gallinari tipped the ball away from him. That's a huge turnover. It's terrible. He shouldn't be running the offense from the top of the key. That's partially on Doc, and that's partially on JoJo, but that's more to me on Ben's lack of spacing on the floor.
You can't blame Ben for JoJo turning the ball over the top of the key. That has nothing to do with Ben. Right there, it was game was on the line. You're down 4 points. You give the ball to Joel. You're our best player. Go get us a bucket. That's what that is, and that's more so on Doc not calling a play to get Joel the ball in the post.
Correct.
So
I agree with that.
I don't think you can blame that portion on Ben. What I will say though is that I'm just not completely sold on this notion that Ben can't run that offense. You won 3 games with Ben running that offense. You had another game where you were up 26 points and Ben was running that offense. So it's not like he has no idea what he's doing out there. Granted, I'm 100% on board with you. He needs to score more, 100%. Does he have the most blame on that team? 100%. If you don't blow that 26-point lead, this is a conversation that we're not having right now because you win that series and it's on to the Bucks, and chances are we think that they probably beat the Bucks.
That 26-point lead, there's 2 players that scored in double digits the entire game. It was Joel and Seth.
That's not.
There were 2 players.
That doesn't matter though.
It does matter.
It doesn't. When you're up 26 points in the second half,
Are you seriously
when you're
telling
up
me
26
it doesn't matter
points,
that 2 people score? Are the only 2 people?
So
that
why are
scored
they
field
at
goals?
26 then?
But
Only 2 people had more than double digits than that point.
Listen to me. 2 people had field goals in the second half.
Okay.
2.
Okay.
Somebody else outside of Joel and Seth.
But there's
needs to
7
score.
other people that played on that court besides Ben that didn't make a bucket in the second half.
I agree with you. There's how many other people are making $33 million a
It has
year?
nothing to do with that game.
It does.
It doesn't, dude.
Bro, if you have a max player on your team, so what you did with Ben Simmons by paying him $33 million was literally say, I have to win with Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, and Joel Embiid. They're the people that make up 90% of this team's salary. So what you did was you surrounded them with mid-level exceptions, veteran minimums, trades. That's what you did. Rookies. So you have to win with that $95 million. You have to. And if one guy shoots 4 for 22 or 2 for 22 or whatever and scores 4 points in the whole game, and the other guy's Ben Simmons, who they're playing hack-a-ben because he can't shoot, that's a problem. You're relying on Seth Curry, who was a rotational piece for a 5 seed last year. Now, granted, he's developed. He shot the lights out. But you can't rely on Seth Curry every game. Somebody else has to do something.
His salary is not an excuse for 7 other professional basketball players to not be able to score a basket in the second half. End of discussion. If you want to give Ben his share of that pie, by all means, give it to him.
Correct.
But give it to Seth Curry. Give it to everybody
Seth
else.
scored 35.
Who scored in the second half of that game?
Seth and Joel. That's it.
Okay. Then give it to Toby, give it to Shake, give it to Forcon, give it to all of them because they all played. And,
I
and
get
the other
that.
part of the problem was the start of that damn run. The start of that damn run was all the subs that shouldn't have been on the court. He called a timeout to try to slow it down, and Atlanta came right back out and scored 9 more points in a row, and he still kept them on the floor. He still kept Ben and the starters on the bench. That's bad coaching. It's a playoff game. And at the end of the day, I don't care what you get paid. If you're up 26 points in a game, in a playoff game, you have to win the game.
I agree with you. That
isn't going on one guy's shoulders. That squarely goes on every goddamn player that checked into that game and Doc Rivers. And this will get me to my other point. This was the craziest stat I saw today, and this goes back to Doc getting off the hook for way too much, in my opinion. Guess what our third most played rotation was in this series? And this isn't like single players. This rotation played together the third most amount of time that any rotation he put on the floor.
I'm going to guess it's Toby in the bench. Toby, Dwight. So you're asking me to guess. I'm going to go Toby, Dwight, Matisse, because Ben wouldn't be on the floor.
Yep.
Toby, Dwight, Matisse, and if I had a guess, I'd say Maxey Furkan.
Nope. Even worse. Well, Furkan sucks, so I mean, probably not. George Hill, Shake Milton, Matisse, Toby, and Dwight Howard.
Yeah. Toby
in
the gang.
That was our third most.
Toby in the gang.
Toby in the gang. So as a coach, if that's your third rotation, do you want to guess what they were as an average per game for the series?
Minus 15.
16.
That's close.
Why do you keep running it out?
I agree with you. I said that he has part of the...
Yeah, but you're only giving him 20% of the blame, and when you're throwing out rotations like that, you got to get a little bit more than 20%. That's the problem.
So, you want to hear the even crazier stat?
Sure.
Not that it matters.
And by the way, Tyler Heiser made a great point. I have to. Can you throw it out there? This is about Ben Simmons. He said, "Can he run it in the fourth quarter?" And the answer is no. We're talking about Ben Simmons.
Don't disagree.
He said he ran the offense.
I don't disagree.
Can he run it in the fourth quarter? And the answer is a resounding no.
Part of the
God, I wanted you to finish your point. You were making very good points.
I have to the to get to that. Part of the problem is the offense they run, and that's to some degree not Ben's fault and not JoJo's fault. Like one of the other crazy stats I saw, JoJo didn't take a shot below the foul line in the fourth quarter. If you're a coach, how are you not taking the best player in the series and putting him on the block and saying someone
couldn't?
They could, bro. Like
let's not say that they can't.
Let's stop. They can't.
Let's not say they
I don't want to hear I can't.
Why can't you do it for 10 other games, the whole playoffs, and then
they're
that game?
doubling him every time he gets close.
He got doubled every time he got the ball in the series.
I was going to say he got doubled in other games.
You're
as well.
doubling John Collins and Clint Capella on him every time he was near the. Bro, watch it. I'm telling
you.
But
they did it, and he had other games where he had 40 points.
So are you telling me that game?
No,
7,
they were doubling.
Are you saying Game 7 is the only game that Joel Embiid got doubled the whole entire playoffs?
No, 5, 6, and 7 they were doubled off. I'm serious right now. The adjustment that Nate McMillan made in Game 5, 100% was made. John Collins was the person that doubled off of Clint Capella instead of Trae Young. If you remember earlier in the series, Trae Young kept getting those little poke steals, and then they changed it because he started realizing Trae was coming. He started throwing his elbow up. I'm serious. They changed the rotation because when Ben Simmons was on the court, they were taking John Collins off of him and doubling direct. God, shoot. God, you stink. Shoot. So every time Joel would catch the ball, so they would try to get it where Joel would catch the ball outside of the block, so they couldn't double up top, because if they doubled, you just pass it into Ben for the dunk. So when he was on the block, you already have two people in the lane. You can't pass to him for the dunk.
But he scored down low in Game 7 in the first 3 quarters with the same defense.
Correct. Because it's not the same defense.
Fourth quarter, he did not make a shot below the foul line. Again, not putting that all on JoJo. He's running the plays that are called by Doc. But at the same time, that's a disgrace. That's more on Doc's shoulder for me. The craziest stat, which again, it's just funny because we're arguing, even though we all agree, there was only one plus player for the Sixers on Sunday. There was one.
There's two.
There was one.
There's two.
Ben Simmons was +1. Everybody else on that team was minus.
There was somebody +2. I showed it to you the same day of it.
I'll look it up.
100%.
I saw it earlier.
It was was it Maxey? Was it Shake? It was one of those.
I think it was Shake.
There was 100%. There was two. I think Shake was +6 or +2, and I think Ben was +1.
The other thing is,
I'm 100% sure about that.
to back to the whole, like, whatever you want to call it, the offensive sets we run, you had Ben with 13 assists. If you add up Toby, Shake, George Hill, Maxey, Matisse, you add the rest of them up. Obviously, you're not going to count JoJo in that. I mean, he's not supposed to get assists. All of them combined, they had 1 assist more than Ben Simmons.
Oh, listen, I understand that, but what they're running for Ben to get these assists, or they're it's so tough for me to explain this through a podcast. It's not like Ben Simmons is setting these guys up for phenomenal plays.
Okay, I get that, but
they're running a screen and he's passing it to a shooter.
Well, if that's the case, if it's that simple for you to run these plays, why can't they just have everybody else doing that? And if you're just so tired of Ben being on the floor, have Maxey go out there and run the offense.
The reason that Ben's on the floor is because he's the best defender in basketball. The problem is, though, in this day's NBA, and this is the truth, in this day's NBA, defense is overrated, man.
No, I mean,
the best 2 defenders in the floor were liabilities in the playoffs.
I'm saying you can have Ben Simmons on the court if you run him as a true 4. I'm saying have somebody else run your offense. If he's that much of a problem running your offense, have somebody else run it.
They need a real point guard.
And you can't.
George Hill is their backup point guard. Then Tyrese Maxey, who's a combo 6'1" guard.
You can't discredit assists like that for anybody, though. Like, if the play is to run Seth off 2 back screens and come around the wing and throw him the ball and he shoots it and he makes it, that's an assist. That's him running the offense the way correctly it's supposed to. That's like saying every time that Chris Paul drives and dishes it out to the guy he's supposed to, the guy makes a shot, that's not really Chris Paul getting an assist. Like, that's stupid. Like, that's assist is an assist, dude. Like, it's different if, like, he runs down the lane and drops the ball by accident, somebody picks it up and dunks it, and you're giving an assist for that. That's not the case. Like, that's what the guard's supposed to do.
He's not threading the needle and dropping dimes.
Nobody is, though. So are we discrediting assists for everybody in the league then?
Absolutely not.
All right, well, that's a stupid point, dude.
It's not a stupid point.
It is.
If you watch it.
Is every Chris Paul or is every Jamal Murray pass they throw threading a needle through 3 guys?
Absolutely not.
Correct. So if the guy comes off a screen and you give him the ball and he shoots it, he scores, that's what he's supposed to do. That's an assist. By definition, that's an assist.
I'm not arguing that's an assist. But running an offense versus just handing the ball off and someone shooting the ball.
It's not always that. Stop making it sound like he stands at the top of the key and some guy grabs the ball in his hands and then scores, and that's all 13 of his assists.
Ben can run the offense. That's why he had games where he had 9 or more assists pretty much all series. The problem is he can't shoot the ball. So if you're going to double off of him, that's when you get in trouble. He can definitely run the offense, though, and I just don't want to put all the blame on Ben when you had ample opportunities to win this series, and it didn't happen, and it's not 100% on Ben. That's all I'm saying.
He's number one.
I don't think anybody says it's 100%.
Yeah, well,
I'm close.
80%.
You're not.
It's not 80%. It's not 75% on Ben. You have a guy who, and I'm not saying
how low do we get?
I'm not saying that you.
I said 70.
I'm not
75.
saying that you get rid of Doc. That's not what I'm saying at all. Doc is going to make his adjustments or he'll be gone.
Joey Hager.
You guys will run people out of town. But
Joey Hager, how many threes did the Sixers attempt up 5+ points with more than 15 seconds left on the clock? They played stupid ball every single fourth. That's fair.
That's a good point.
It's a very good point.
And that's not on Ben Simmons because he's not the one shooting 3-pointers.
We know Ben's not shooting them.
But my whole thing with Doc is you show me this every single postseason. That's why I can't excuse Doc. It would be different if Doc wins in the playoffs. He has 1 championship to show for it. Do you know who the coach is that has blown the most leads being up in a playoff series?
Doc
Rivers. He's done it 11 times in his career now. So I can't just give him a life jacket just because he has Ben Simmons on the floor.
I didn't give him a life jacket. I'm not firing him, but I didn't give him a life jacket.
No. 20% is
20% of blame is still high.
That's not
second
that,
on the team.
That's not that high.
It's low for me.
20% is not that high,
bro. If he's second on the team,
with 20%, that means he got 80%. He passed. He did his job, and I can't say that a coach gets 20% of the blame when he was outcoached by his counterpart of a team who had inferior talent than him.
Both series too.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Atlanta's just better than Washington. Like I said, I don't think we could have lost Washington if we tried. I mean, you take Beal and Westbrook away, they're just not a good team. I mean, we're just better. I mean, pretty much everyone on our bench would start for that team.
No one wants to mention this. We all talked about our injuries, but you do realize that the second best player on the Hawks didn't play the whole series.
Oh, I'm aware.
Didn't play the whole series.
Yep.
Like, that was embarrassing.
Yeah.
And now we're about to watch Milwaukee run through them like a fucking hot knife through butter.
I'm curious
to see how tonight's game ends up.
Bucks in 5.
I said Bucks in 6.
I'm gonna go I go Bucks in 7.
What?
Bucks in 7.
If they win 3 games, I will lose my mind.
Problem is that Bucks team. I mean, we kind of
They're
saw it
too
against that
big.
Nets. Yes, they're big, but they can't shoot the 3-ball consistently. The Hawks are going to shoot you out of the game. 2 out of those 7 games, the Hawks are just going to have it, and the Bucks just aren't.
So Kevin Mooney he keeps calling Kevin Herter Richie Cunningham, which I think is pretty funny actually.
Yeah.
But he goes, Richie Cunningham wasn't doing anything until Seth was guarding him. It's inexcusable to not put a better defender on him. As much as I agree with you, and I do, it's because they were running Matisse and Ben at the same time. And you can't do that. You can't do that. And when they ran Matisse without Ben, Matisse was on Trae Young. So in order to get points, they kept Seth on the floor. If Matisse could score, we wouldn't be having this argument. He's a defensive specialist. I just don't like spending $33 million on Bruce Bowen Jr. with Ben Simmons.
Why couldn't you throw Matisse on Kevin?
Matisse was sticking Trae Young.
Why wouldn't Ben stick Trae Young?
You tell me.
I mean, their strategy in the fourth quarter,
Boy, what the
especially,
hell?
was they were both up top, and if they picked and they switched, and I think Doc was comfortable with that. If they moved Trae to one side of the court, Ben had him. If they moved to the other side, Matisse covered him. I mean, Seth played awful defense, but at the same time, Nate McMillan gets credit.
I can't say he played awful defense when a guy 5 inches taller than him was scoring on him.
But
You shouldn't have a guy
There was
like
just-
Gallinari was. George Hill was sticking Gallinari too, which made no stinking sense.
Doc Rivers.
I agree with you.
But that all contributed to that loss, dude. Like all of it.
The George
All
Hill,
of it.
The George Hill sticking to Danilo Gallinari was because Ben had 5 fouls,
Yeah.
which is.
I mean,
I'm not blaming that on Doc, on him having frustration fouls on balls that.
some of them were even frustrated. I mean, the reffing. I mean, that's another whole conversation for another day. That was terrible all series.
Guys,
anyway.
It's 9:06. We've been 36 minutes on NBA. I need your prediction on the series. You guys went. You got Suns. We get quick Suns. I have Suns in 5.
I'll go 5, but I mean,
Gentlemen sweep.
I'm gonna go Suns in 7.
I
I think we got 2 games.
Oh.
We got 2 7-game series.
I have
No
Bucks in
way.
5.
there's no
And
way.
you have Bucks in 7, and you have
Bro,
Bucks in 6.
No, I have Bucks in 6. He has Bucks in
What
7.
Gene said about that Clippers team, Ty Lue makes his adjustments, and it's going to be. I mean, Campaign's not going to be able to have 29 and 9 again with Chris Paul coming back. The rotations are going to switch up a little bit.
They're not going to go backwards with Chris Paul, though. Like,
No, they're not going to go backwards. No, of course not. Of course not. But the performances that we've had, like the guys who've had to step up, they may not be in as much of a rhythm.
You better
coming off the bench.
You better believe that the Clippers are going to play way better at home. Marcus Morris plays better in L.A.
Yep.
Terrence Mann plays better in L.A. Reggie Jackson plays better in L.A. You better believe that team's going to play better in L.A.
Yeah, they'll probably win one.
Yeah, I think they'll win Game 3 actually with Chris Paul back. I think they lose Game 4 in a close one, and Game 5 I think is a whitewash.
Yeah.
Just my opinion. But guys, we got to move on to NHL. I appreciate all the people listening right now, tuning in.
Before we go there,
Yeah.
where does Ben Simmons end up?
Oh Jesus! All right, that's fun. Let's do that for a minute. Okay, give me your. Do you have a destination?
Of course. I told you.
You
already.
want him for CJ McCollum, right?
I think the move to make is trade him to Portland for CJ McCollum.
You and that chick from Barstool, which by the way, she's awesome. But regardless,
CJ McCollum, he give you the shooter that you're desperately looking for at that position. Then you just got to go out and find a point guard to run your offense.
All
And
that
it doesn't have
change-
to be a great person. It just has to be somebody that could floor generate.
all that changes if Dame Lillard demands out. You need Dame Lillard to want to stay there. Because Dame was already talking about demanding out, talking about where Dame Lillard's going. All that changes then.
They're not trading CJ because if they do, that's exactly what's going to happen. You're going to be left with Ben Simmons and no Dame Lillard. That's exactly what's going to happen. They're extremely tight. They love playing with each other.
Do you have a thought process?
He's on the Sixers next year. It's not. I'm not saying it's because he necessarily deserves to be here. With his salary and with the postseason he just had, he's gonna be very, very, very hard to trade. To a trade where at least it makes somewhat sense for us. You have to get somebody back for him. You can't just give him away. You can't. So, does value wise, would I take CJ McCollum? Absolutely,
100%.
in a heartbeat. That trade ain't happening.
You have an opinion of where he could go?
I told you from the get go. I think he's here.
DeJounte Murray. I want DeJounte Murray for him from the Spurs.
You can want that.
Popovich is listen. When
I
Bruce
would-
Bowen,
I want that too.
Bruce Bowen says something, I listen. Bruce Bowen's very close to Popovich. He said Popovich would trade any player on the Spurs roster for Ben Simmons. I want DeJounte Murray.
I don't see it happening.
I'll take 15, 7, and 6 from a guy that can shoot, developing and growing, and can play defense.
He just, I mean, depending on what you want, what you value, he's debatably the better player, and he's
Younger.
younger, and he's $25 million cheaper.
Yeah, so you're gonna have to Spurs have plenty of money, so you're fine. You don't have to worry about that.
I'm talking about just from their point of view, they can keep him and pay him whatever he is on his rookie deal.
I got news for you. The Sixers are gonna ask for DeJounte Murray plus. I got news for you.
You better just settle in and buckle up for Ben Simmons to be here next year.
DeMar DeRozan's a free agent. There would have to be a sign and trade for DeMar and Lonnie Walker. Listen, guys, let's get into NHL. I know you guys got Campbell's corner loaded up. We're gonna talk about the Islanders versus Lightning series. Tom's in a hockey game right now, but he recorded something perfect. We're gonna discuss it. We're gonna play it right now, and then we'll discuss it afterwards. All you NHL guys, that's baseball. God damn it, just play it.
Wrong theme song. It's brutal.
To those of you wondering where my ugly mug is on the live stream, which would basically just be my mother, I'm actually on the ice right now, dishing some apples, tucking some Genos, but we're nearing the end of the Final Four, and I didn't want to leave you guys without a Campbell's Corner, so...
Hey, as they say in hockey, let's do that hockey.
All right, let's kick off that hockey with the Cheaters and the Cockroaches. Sorry, the Lightning and the Islanders. On Thursday, the Bolts won a bit of a snoozer. Then the Islanders knotted the series at 2 games apiece on Saturday thanks to a dominating second period and one huge save by defenseman Ryan Pulock. If you don't know what I'm referring to with the goalie down and out, dude went full on Adam Banks and saved the game-tying goal with his body in the final seconds, and thousands of Tampa fans' hearts broke all at once. Honestly, he only had to because the Islanders abandoned half their identity in the third, giving the Lightning free rein in the neutral zone in favor of extra defenders in their own zone. So, as to not risk any odd man rushes, they eased off the forecheck, but with less speed coming back, too often their forwards found themselves kind of flat-footed, the gap between the backpedaling defensemen and the stationary forward group extended, and the Lightning got to play East-West hockey, aka Lightning hockey, and they dominated the period. Personally, I'm not a big believer in carryover momentum from game to game, but I'm pretty sure Uncle Shally sees it differently, and I'm guessing he'll expand when I'm done. Fast forward to Monday, and the Islanders just plain got boat raced. Was it carryover? I don't know. Tampa came out of the gate fast, the home team always does in the playoffs, and the visitors just tried to hang on and weather the storm for the first 10 minutes. But in this game, the Isles fell victim to some really, really unfortunate puck luck in the first. Stamkos' goal was basically just a broken play and a right place, right time rebound. The third goal was nothing more than a puck tossed onto the Price is Right Plinko board that somehow found its way through Varley's legs. Honestly, it was a Murphy's Law period, and it kind of forced the Islanders, now down 3-0, to open up their game, and Tampa promptly feasted on that opportunity. Now, fact, lopsided playoff hockey games turn ugly, and this one didn't disappoint. There were plenty of shenanigans, but the only one really worth discussing was mild-mannered Matt Barzal getting into a run-of-the-mill cross-check duel with Rutta. Possible outcome is always the other guy's face on the receiving end of the shaft of your stick, and that's what happened here. Now, don't hear what I'm not saying. It was born out of frustration. It was dangerous. It deserved a penalty. But honestly, I didn't think it was that egregious. And if the refs didn't fear a 6-0 game turning into a nationally televised WrestleMania, I think he'd probably have just gotten 2 minutes. But to settle the game down, they tossed him. Fortunately for us, the viewers, there was no suspension, so Barzal will play in Game 6. But this is certainly not over. He's going to have to answer the bell for the hit, most likely right at the beginning of Game 6. And it sure as shit isn't going to be Point or a Cooch or a Stammer coming after him. Now, it'll be a Luke Shen, it'll be a Barclay Goodrow, basically a penalty box trade that benefits the Lightning. At this point, you have to think the series is just about over. The Islanders have been playing above their pay grade for a few weeks now, getting by with the system being executed to near perfection. but I think they've probably reached the end of the line. Tampa's just too talented, too fast, and now that the series has taken a turn toward the ugly, power plays will be inevitable, and Tampa is just too lethal with the extra man. This one probably gets wrapped up tonight.
Relax, it's over, baby.
Come on, boys, let's go.
So, basically breaking that down, I mean, Shally, I want your thoughts. Tampa already being up 1-0. I definitely agree with him that this series is over tonight.
So the point I was talking to him when the game was going on the other night, and that third period, Tampa just looked like a different team. They probably got absolutely, verbally abused in the locker room. They were down 3-0 going to the third. They had really no momentum in the offensive zone, no attack. They just had no spark. They were flat. Looked like a freaking Flyers team. But I was watching. I was kind of going back and forth with Tom during that third period when it was going on, and they scored the first one early. Then they scored the second one. I would say probably like 6 minutes to go. And as time described it, they almost scored with 4 seconds to go in the forced overtime. If they would have done that, there's no doubt they had all the momentum in the game. They would have won that game. But I made the statement at the time. I said Tampa Bay is going to blow them out in Game 5 when they get back to Tampa Bay. And he didn't think so. He thought it was going to be a close game. I was just adamant. I said they're going to carry this over the way they played the third period. They're going to come out the same way in the first period, and they did. They skated by New York. Again, Barry Trotz's team are very known for their defense. And Tampa Bay embarrassed them the other night. So I just saw the same thing you did. That they're up 1-0 in this game. I think this game will be close. I won't be surprised at all if Tampa Bay finishes it tonight, but I think it'll be a closer game. It's not going to be an 8-0 game with New York at home. But for all intents and purposes, that series is over.
Okay, Control, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd also agree. I think that series is over. I will wait because I kind of have a combo thought just by the way that the other series is going. But yeah, I definitely think that series is over, and it looks like Tampa Bay is going to weasel their way to another Stanley Cup appearance.
That's a good way to put it. Weasel.
Okay. Golden Knights versus Montreal. Tom gave us a breakdown there.
Oh,
let's get into it.
Moving over to the other side of the bracket, the Canadiens lead the heavily favored Golden Knights 3-2. Now, on the show last week, I asked, can Montreal still win this series? The answer from all three of you was a resounding no! And trust me, you guys are far from the only ones. Everyone in the hockey community that I talked to agreed. Vegas is too good. Montreal is barely over 500. Yada, yada, yada. But I laid out a real scenario where Montreal could not only compete in this series, but possibly win it. And it's been playing out in living color. While we were recording that show, the Habs jumped out to a 3-0 lead in Game 2 and held on to win. Game 3 was the Josh Anderson game. If you're asking yourself, who? I don't blame you. So was everyone else when the Habs traded a former first-rounder for him and gave him a Brinks truck. He was a role player. He still is a role player. But now I guess we can add playoff hero to his resume. Late in Game 3, Fleury mishandled a dump-in, and Anderson was Johnny on the mother effing spot, there to tuck it in and send the game to OT. Then in OT, the dude knocks a puck out of midair at the blue line, goes in 2-0, and buries the game winner. Vegas coach Pete DeBoer made a really surprising move in net in Game 4, benching Vezina candidate Marc-Andre Fleury in favor of Robin Lerner. The move did pay off. Lerner matched Carey Price save for save, and then the Knights tied the series. Even though they won, though, it really seemed like something was off, or I guess something still is off about the Knights. Their offense is just kind of gone cold. And as good as Carey Price is, I really don't know that he's the reason why. Now, Vegas' top-line center, Chandler Stevenson, got hurt in Game 1. He missed Game 2, 3, 4. So I guess you could argue that had something to do with it. But let's be honest about what Stevenson really is. He's a fourth-line player. He was given away by Washington, and he just happened to find some chemistry with some really good line mates in Mark Stone and Max Pacioretty. But fine, chemistry is chemistry, and his return in Game 5 should reset the table, right? Certainly didn't look that way last night. The Habs came out buzzing on the road, controlled play in the first, took the lead, and then just totally stymied Vegas' offense in the second. Vegas finally started to play with speed and urgency in the third, but it was too little too late. Carey Price was already dialed in, and now the Habs return home for Game 6 with a 3-2 series lead. So the two questions that really jump out to me at this point are, how did we get here, and can Vegas recover? To understand how we got here, I think we really need to understand both of these hockey teams. Vegas is, like Bill said a few weeks ago, a bit of a throwback. They have talent up front, but they don't have a bona fide superstar. So they need to generate offense in a different way than, say, a Colorado or a Tampa. Pete DeBoer's system is actually a lot like what we see the Flyers play here under AV. Good D-men move the puck efficiently to the forwards, they chip it in deep, and they go get it. They forecheck hard and play heavy down low. Now, where the Flyers try to gain control and then be a bit more of a finesse offensive team, Vegas controls play more by mucking and grinding, winning one-on-one battles like it's 1999 again. And they've been effective at it. But Montreal is a real tough team to play against. You know, I keep hearing this misnomer that Montreal and New York play the same system. And that's really not true. Yes, they're both defensively sound, but they get there in really different ways. New York makes you chip it in behind them and is kind of okay with you skating around or passing the puck around the perimeter of their zone. Their goal is to take away your high danger chances and let you kill the clock for them in the meantime. Montreal is a completely different beast. They contest everything. You want to break the puck out of your own zone? You're going to have a guy in your face while you try. You want to bring the puck through the neutral zone? They're not going to cut the ice in half like the Islanders. They're in your face, making it hard for you to navigate the middle of the ice. You want to dump it in? They're going to fight you tooth and nail as you try to get it. And let me tell you something. They have some real mountain men back there on defense that are going to win those one-on-one battles. Now, the trade-off, when you're that aggressive on the puck, sometimes you can look silly if you get beat by a really well-executed play. Pacioretty's goal last night was a good example. And then his dish to Riley Smith on the back door where Price made that huge save of the year, that's another. But this style of play, with the goalie they have behind them, it was always going to be a bad matchup for a team like Vegas because Vegas' offense has a nasty habit of going cold at times. And when an offense goes cold, sticks get held a little bit tighter, and those precision plays, they just get harder and harder to make. So the question now is, can Vegas recover? Honestly, I don't know. Vegas is the more talented team, but they need to find their rhythm offensively. They need to find a way to win more of those one-on-one puck battles. They need to find a way to get their power play going because right now it is a laugh-out-loud joke. And they really need their top forwards to find their game. 7 of Vegas' 11 goals in this series have been from the defensemen. That is not a winning recipe. Mark Stone, who I have a total man crush on as a player, no goals. William Karlsson, no goals. John Marchessault, no goals. Riley Smith, no goals. Alex Tuch, no goals. Chandler Stevenson, no goals. Max Pacioretty, okay, 1 goal. These are your 7 best offensive players. 1 goal between them in 5 games is just not good enough. And now, Vegas has another thing to think about, which is which goalie gives them the better chance to win. Fleury was great in Game 1, and aside from the stick-handling gaffe in Game 3, Fleury has been, just kind of fine since. But Vegas is going to need to weather the storm in the first 10 against Montreal tomorrow night. Really, this puts DeBoer in a tough spot. If he plays Lerner and they win, they have a full-blown goalie controversy prior to Game 7. If he plays Flower and he continues to just be, fine, there probably is no Game 7. Now, Vegas has shown themselves to be a pretty resilient team. I do like them to find a way to win tomorrow night. But to really come back in this series, they need to find their offense, not squeak out another 2-1 overtime win and just cross their fingers in Game 7.
You don't score until you score.
So, that's a hell of a breakdown.
It is. I mean, it's pretty spot on. I mean, the Flyer comparison is actually pretty spot on as well. Except we just don't have the defenseman to do it. I think you'll see everything you need to know in the first 10 to 12 minutes of that game tomorrow night.
If Vegas is up 1-0 after 10 minutes, they win the game. It's not close.
Agreed.
If Montreal's up 1-0, I still think Vegas can win the game.
I think the only thing I disagree with him is, with Vegas weathering the storm, I think it's going to be the opposite. Even though Montreal's home, I think Vegas is going to come out like a bat out of hell. I think Montreal needs to weather that storm. And if they do and they can settle in and start playing their game, then I think Vegas might be in a little bit of trouble. I do agree. I think Vegas needs to have the lead in that game. And, you have to make Montreal chase. If Montreal has to come out of their shell, that's where they struggle a little bit. It gets a little bit out of their comfort zone. Kind of like the other series, if you start letting Vegas skate up and down the ice, they're going to start scoring. If you can stay in your defensive shell, pack it in, play in front of Carey Price, and, grind out goals here and there like they are right now. I mean, it's a good recipe if you can play it. It's old school playoff hockey.
I feel like Vegas is very resilient. I mean, not necessarily they've been in this exact situation before, but they've had the pressure on them in these games. Like the series, the last series they had with the Avalanche, they I mean, for the most part, not no one, but Avalanche were the favorites in that series, and they had some adversity in the series, and they stepped up, they played well, and they advanced. And Montreal really hasn't quite had that. They have to an extent, but it hasn't been like pressure later in the series.
Yeah, I mean, Vegas, you know, to Cottrell's point, Vegas was down 2-0 to Colorado and 2 bad losses to the point where I was like, Colorado's going to walk through.
Game 2 wasn't that bad.
And Colorado was bad. Colorado was one of the heavy favorites to win it all this year.
They won 4 straight. Listen, I mean, again, it becomes one of those things. I mean, that's just a really interesting series. I mean, I don't know how much of the moment Montreal will, you know, fold to if they have to go to Vegas for Game 7 because they just won there and convincingly at that. They won 4-1. I don't know. I still think Vegas pulls it out. I do. They're just a better team, but
completely or just tonight or tomorrow night.
Both completely.
Both, yeah. I do disagree with Tom a little bit in that Carey Price played well. He hasn't had the maybe like top 10, you know, flashy saves other than the save he did have the other night, which is probably gonna be nominated for Save of the Year. It was incredible. And he kind of actually made it look easy because he's just that good. But he's been so solid. Like, he's not giving up rebounds. Like, anything he gets through a screen, like he's controlling his rebounds or he gets puck stoppages. That's how he has to play behind that team. And again, it just adds to the legend of Carey Price. I mean, he's just that good. He's that dude. He's an absolute treasure, and Montreal is lucky to have him.
Damn right. So I think Vegas wins the series. I think Tampa wins the series. I think if Vegas versus Tampa in the finals, I'll go out on a limb and I'll say Vegas. I've been on Vegas the whole entire train. And I know you guys have Tampa. Probably both of you guys do, right?
I think the Canadians win the series.
Ooh.
I think Tampa beats them in 5.
Okay.
Tampa versus Montreal could get ugly.
Yeah, I agree. I think Tampa wins if it's Tampa Montreal.
If it's Tampa Vegas, I'll take Tampa in 7. And I think you're talking about like an all-time great Cup final if it's those two.
Okay. We got to move on. We got venues brackets. Got a ton.
Yep.
Mike, do you have the venues brackets ready, or do you want us to prelude it?
Trae Young, 25 at halftime. Sheesh.
Are they still losing though?
Oh, let's take a look.
That's
We're
the
going
point.
to the bracket.
Yeah.
Going to the bracket.
All right.
Which side do you want to start on?
Jamie, left or right? Right.
Looks
Okay.
right.
All right. We're starting with Fenway Park versus the Rose Bowl. This is a tough one.
I want to.
You want to start this one?
Yeah, I would love to actually, because I don't want any pressure on me.
Got it.
So I am. You can call me Paul George or Ben Simmons, whatever. So I want to. I want to start with the Rose Bowl. The Rose Bowl is obviously the best stadium in college football. That's why it's here. College football is by far my favorite sport to follow. With that being said, you got Fenway Park, and it's the best baseball stadium that we have. This was a tough decision, but for me, I'm going with the Rose Bowl. I just love the allure of it. It's so historic that one game gets, not one, but for the most part, one game gets played there every year at the exact same time. It's beautiful scenery. I'm going with the Rose Bowl.
Bill?
You or me? You want me to go?
Yes, sir.
All right. So our train of thoughts are very similar. Obviously, Ohio State fan, Michigan fan. We have a kind of underlying tie to the Rose Bowl because the Big Ten has a natural tie to that game. Got to watch them play there. And Cottrell said it best. It is the best college football stadium we have. Versus that, as much as I love college football, baseball has always been my love. It is my number one, always will be. And Fenway is the best of that. I think there's more history at Fenway. Rose Bowl does really only get used during bowl season for the Rose Bowl, as great as that game is. Fenway Park's used 82 times a year. And there's just been...
There's a theme. Bill loves consistency. Like Friday Night Lights, 76 shows. Rose Bowl's only one time a year. Friday Night Lights is 76 shows. I'm just kidding. God. I love the thought, though. I'm messing with you.
The caliber and the amount of Hall of Fame players that have, played on that field at Fenway Park gives it the slight edge for me. So as much as I love the Rose Bowl, and I absolutely hate voting against it, I'm gonna go with Fenway Park.
Jesus. I was hoping it would be 2-0, or it would be so I didn't have to.
I asked you if you wanted to go last.
All right, so listeners, I want your guys' feedback. Come on in the comment line. Let me know which one you like between the two of them. I'm going to give you my thoughts now. Okay, so where do I want to start? All right, so I'll just go top bottom. This is not like any indication of where I'm going, but Fenway Park is not only the nicest, well, it's not nicest, and not the nicest. It's the most historical stadium in baseball.
Yep.
It is the funnest stadium in baseball. Like the way the monster plays out, you have to play off the monster. How many times you watch Manny Ramirez get destroyed by that monster? Like it just looked like a fool. People playing the ball off to center field corner to the pesky pole down in right field. I mean, Fenway Park is,
and you can sit up there now, which is cool.
It's not even just that. It's just fun. It's like you're watching like an amusement park or like I'm thinking of a better obstacle course of a baseball field.
Yeah.
And it's super fun. The Rose Bowl is by far my favorite college football stadium. It's not close. I mean, there's something about a New Year's Day game at 5:00 and watching the sun go down and the way they time it. It is so it's funny because I was showing a group of my friends that aren't huge sports fans the 4 venues just by pictures, by the way they look at it. And they're like, oh man, the Rose Bowl is beautiful. Like that looks the best, just like looks wise.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of torn here.
This one's tough. Like this was the one I was dreading out of the two.
Yeah. So thank you, Jamie. I got to go with my favorite, and my favorite's the Rose Bowl, and I have to go with it because I think that there's nothing I'd rather be doing on a Sunday at 5:00 or a New Year's Day at 5:00 than watching a New Year's Day Super 6 game where the sun's coming down and you can see the orange sky that kick off. It's just, I have to go Rose Bowl. So Rose Bowl's going to move on to the finals. This one to me is a little easier.
It's a little disappointing because I think one of them gets swept, and that's not the indication that's not how easy it was.
Well, let's see if First Love wants to go first. You got First Love.
I'll go. I mean, anything I could say about Boston, I could almost say about Wrigley. Again, I mean, you're talking all-time greats that play on that field. You have the Ivy. You have Wrigleyville, which I've talked about before, which is amazing. You have people that sit across the street on the rooftops and watch the game. I mean, again, Wrigley Field's atmosphere, if you've never been there, is amazing. It's in the Midwest. Just general, people are a little bit nicer out there. And then you have Augusta.
Are you making an argument that Chicago people are nicer?
That part of Chicago, they are.
Yeah, it's two different.
Not
two
the
different
South
sides.
Side?
Yeah. Yeah, Shally's not walking around the South Side. It's then you have Augusta, which we all know. I mean, I don't know how many superlatives we can keep talking about it. It's just it sometimes it almost looks fake if you take pictures at the right time and you watch it on TV. It almost looks like somebody like drew it up and designed it. And nobody's ever played on it. It's just like it's like somebody's like
it's like Field of Dreams.
Yes, it's almost like that's a great thing. That's a great comparison. It's almost like that, or it's like almost like somebody's like secret garden, like they built it in their backyard and nobody's allowed on it. They just walk out and cut the grass with scissors every day. Like that's how perfect it is. And to the history of that, every great golfer that's ever played the game has walked on that course. I mean, all the way back to Bobby Jones, Walter Hagen, Sam Snead, all the way through Phil, Tiger, and the new guys now, Rory, Brooks, all those guys.
He added Brooks. I love it.
Brooks is the man, dude.
I agree. I just love how you just add him to the
listen, he's won 4 majors in 3 years.
He's your favorite golfer.
He's a lot of people's favorite golfer.
I don't disagree with that.
We know where you're going. We know.
I'm going Augusta.
Oh, okay.
And this is kind of the same thing as the last one. It's begrudgingly like.
I get it. It's a sweep though.
Yeah.
I'm not speaking for Cottrell. But to me, like, I love Wrigley, but it's the second best baseball stadium. I said that last week.
Yeah.
I can't have the second best baseball stadium in the finals if I eliminate the first best.
It's fair.
I'm going to Augusta National. It's beautiful. The course is amazing. You watch the pictures. You watch everything. Man, just watching and you guys, I gotta give it to you guys. Doing this show has been awesome for my sports fandom because I'm a huge NBA guy, huge NFL guy, big baseball guy. But like I'll break it down just like that: NFL, NBA, baseball. You guys through this show have got me a lot more into college football, a lot more into soccer, or not soccer, golf. Still won't get into soccer. I can't watch that as much. But I got to go Augusta National here. I don't think it's that close. And I love Wrigley.
Augusta National is a tournament where you crown a champion every single time. And that's what I'm going to love about the final. I know the Rose Bowl, not necessarily anymore, isn't always going to be the national champion. But you crown a winner, and winning a Rose Bowl is special to these schools.
Yep.
And winning at Augusta is probably the most important tournament to any golfer ever.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Augusta here. It's going to be set up a fun final.
I think
and there's no knock on Wrigley. Wrigley made it really far and knocked out a lot of really good competition, including MSG.
I think it's crazy, though. We picked in the finals, you get two very popular historical places, but they are definitely the two by far most aesthetically pleasing venues as well.
Yeah, so like I want to shout out my buddy Dave Hernandez, who's on listening on the wire line.
Chicago guy.
And he's like, go Wrigley, go Cubs, go. Listen, man, we got Wrigley as far as we could get it. I'd have preferred Lambeau in that spot, and that would because that would have been more gut wrenching.
You would have hated that.
Yeah, it would have been more gut wrenching. You're right. Like I'll tell you right now, if I had to rank them, I'm not going to say 1 and 2, but like Lambeau is in there with those two. Like they're my top 3.
Yeah,
and like it's Lambeau and those two. I just don't know how I'm not literally getting into that right now, guys. We got to make a flyby decision right now. Are we voting on this next week? Are we allowing the fans to vote on it this week? What are we doing?
I mean, I want to vote on it, but I have no problem letting the fans vote either.
I think we should. Yeah, I think we should do both. We vote on the show. We have our show winner, but we also give it to the fans and listen to the turnout.
Do you want to give it to the fans this week and then next week?
Why don't we just add our votes into the fans? Winner take
next
all.
Week?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good way to do it.
I'm with it. So we'll declare the winner next week, and we'll take the votes all this week, and we'll see if it's even within 3 by the time we come on air. But we'll see. It's been a great bracket. We'll announce another bracket next week. Shally's been teasing us with this one. He's so ready. I'm kidding. I'm just putting him on the spot.
I thought of a couple
Actually,
other
I was
ones.
gonna say I got a couple ideas too.
Yeah.
I want to hear Cottrell's ideas. Screw
tired of
Shally
Bill.
with his Friday night. Bro, you know what drives me nuts?
What grinds your gears?
Grinds my gears.
He's still bitter about
Friday
Coach
Night
Taylor.
Lights. Hold on. Friday Night Lights, Coach Taylor. Now he's got Augusta National in the finals, which it should be. I'm just busting balls. But it seems like Shally is manipulating the show.
How?
I'm just saying, guys. His favorite seems to make the finals every time.
I didn't even do this, Brad. It's not my fault that my choices are right. I don't know you tell me.
Your choices are right. I hate you. And love you in the same sentence.
Love you.
Okay, so we got a lot to get into still.
Baseball?
No. We're going to do a quick Wimbledon and Euro Cup.
Okay.
We'll do Wimbledon, Euro Cup, and then we'll finish with baseball into You Gotta Be Kidding Me. Let's go!
We're not going over Rombo real quick either?
Let's do it. Go ahead. Quick.
All right. I mean, if you watch it, listen, it was a prototypical U.S. Open. It came down to the last hole, which is all you can ask for. I'll get into Louis a little bit later, a little foreshadowing there. But it was a great tournament.
I don't know how you get into Louis there.
No, you do.
You do.
You do. You do. There's no
I feel like Bryson
bones
would be
about
a
it.
bigger bone.
It's not if Bryson would have did one of his stupid things on that hole, he was in contention when he was on 17. Bryson would have been up for it too, but he melted down way before.
The problem is, if the people who were playing well, everybody knew 18 was the hole. Everybody. So for you,
they were saying it on there.
For you to pull what you did before 18, just not a good decision.
So, listen, I mean that leaderboard, and I say this seriously. 3 hours into the final round, that leaderboard was everything you could ever ask for. You had Brooks, you had Rory, you had DeChambeau still at that point. You had John Rahm, Louis Oosthuizen.
Isn't it amazing how DeChambeau finished like 27th?
He was
super meltdown.
Literally,
Oh my God,
the best meathead meltdown of all time.
And I love it, guys. People on the show think I like Bryson. I
think you kind of do. You pick him all the time though,
because I think he has an advantage. Because I think he outdrives everyone. I think it's fun to watch. It's like a freak show, like watching a guy at the.
Yeah, but he never hits it straight. It's a huge advantage if he hits it straight.
Problem is though,
when he hits it 30 yards to the left,
like
it's not an advantage.
I think the problem with that though is that a lot of that is his game plan though. He's like, I like hitting from the rough. I don't need to be on the fairway to get on the green.
Not the rough at Torrey Pines.
Correct.
Oh yeah, no. I'm with you.
I said verbatim when you picked him last week. I said if he hits the ball in the fairway at that distance, he's going to be almost impossible to beat.
He had 30 strokes in a row under par, 30 holes in a row under par.
But you have to remember they stopped watering. This is you'll learn more as you start to get more into it as you are. A U.S. Open course, for instance, if it doesn't rain, they stop watering that course on Thursday. That course continues to dry out. The rough continues to grow. It gets deeper. Like grass on a golf course grows like an inch like every other day. So Sunday they're playing like 6.5 inch, 7 inch rough. The pins are in tougher spots and the greens are rock hard. So the shots he got away with on Thursday and Friday where you could put it in the middle of the green and they just held, Sunday they didn't. Sunday they rolled off, or Sunday they rolled off the back into deeper rough. Then you're chipping back across the green again downhill. It's not set up for that. For him, as much of an advantage as it is as far as he hits the ball, if you're constantly hitting out of the rough, you're not going to succeed at a U.S. Open. You can get away with it when they play more of a link style course, you can kind of get away with it sometimes. It's more wide open. When you're playing a traditional course like Torrey, like a tree line course, stuff like that, he's going to struggle if he's not hitting fairways. He's always going to be that way. If he has the magical weekend where he hits everything straight in the fairway, I guarantee you he'll be there at the end.
So I think he has a huge advantage of how hard he can drive the ball.
He absolutely does. But he just...
I was just super happy for Rambo. Super happy for John Rahm.
Listen, with the last couple of weeks, what he went through.
Yes.
I
just didn't think he could play that good, that back-to-back tournaments like that.
Listen, through 13, he had nothing going. He really didn't.
He couldn't hit a putt.
Yeah, he couldn't hit a putt. I mean,
he was par all day long.
He was grinding, but he had nothing
going.
going.
The last 3 majors, though, this guy's been like 5 under. Masters, he was 6 under the last day.
Yeah,
he was just so far back he couldn't. Like he creeped into the top 10 because I picked him for the Masters.
Yeah.
I paid him top 10.
Great guy. The craziest thing I heard on that broadcast is, and Azinger wouldn't say who it was, Phil Mickelson apparently has some huge double-digit bet with some other golfer on the tour that he'll get the #1 in the world. And Azinger kind of let on that he knows who it is, but he wouldn't say it. He's going to get there. He's just too good. I actually think.
Do you know what I love about him?
Him?
He's the most passionate golfer. His passion is just there, dude.
I will tell you.
I love watching someone that's that emotional and invested.
You're right. The biggest thing with what he's done the last couple years, though, is he's taken his passion and made it a positive thing. And I think part of that, him getting married, now being a father, if you Google John Rahm from 4 years ago, and he has meltdowns on the course, like throws clubs, like melts down, like
I love that.
I get that, but if you're a golfer and you have when your temper gets the best of you like that, you're
like
not
Bryson.
Correct. That's what you're going to get. He is completely come full circle and harnessed all that in a positive direction. He doesn't get down on himself if he hits a bad shot. He stays positive. You always hear his caddy saying, next shot, like stay up. And now you're getting what he has. And that dude has all the physical tools to win a bunch of majors. He's a very good golfer.
I don't disagree with you. I just my whole point would be I just love how passionate and emotional.
He cares. He absolutely does.
Guys, we got to get into a couple other things.
Let's go.
I'm happy for Rambo. Quick, give me your Wimbledon picks.
All right. I'm going with Novak to win men's. I picked a winner and I have a dark horse for each, but I'm going with Novak to win the men's. He's just the best player on the planet. Federer's not. I don't think Federer's 100% healthy. As great as he is on grass, he's also 39 years old. Novak's just playing at a different level right now. And I mentioned it right before we came on air. I want him to win because that'll give him the first 3 legs of the Grand Slam. So he would go to New York, and if he wins the U.S. Open, he would win all 4. I didn't look it up. I can't. It hasn't happened in a really long time. And then when you factor in last year, he was playing great when he got DQ'd and thrown out of the tournament for the linesman issue. I mean, you're in theory looking at a guy that would have possibly won 5 majors in a row.
Who's your dark horse?
That's crazy. And the other important factor is if he wins the U.S. Open, you will then have 3 guys tied at 20 with majors. Nadal, Federer, and Djokovic will all have 20. That's the all-time lead. So, I mean, they're going to fight tooth and nail to see who ends up being, the GOAT in regards to majors. My dark horse is from Italy, Mr. Matteo Berrettini. Very good player. Really good serve, big forehand. Likes to serve volley a little bit. Good mixture for on the grass.
How about your females?
Females, I'm going with Arina Sabalenka to win it. I don't want to count Serena out. I just don't know how healthy she is. She's not playing well this year. I don't know if she's finally hit the proverbial cliff. I just don't know. She could go out and win it. I won't be surprised. She's great there. And my dark horse, I'm taking Belinda Bencic from Switzerland. Another very good player, solid.
I do not have dark horses. I have 2 straight winners, and I do not. Yeah, give me yours.
So mine, these are 2 people that Bill touched on already. The 2 people who play Wimbledon probably the best out of any of their tournaments. I'm going Roger Federer.
Ooh.
I feel like Novak's gonna get put out early. I don't know where. I don't know from who. Before he faces off with Roger. That's all I'm saying. Because clearly he has Roger's number, and pretty much the last few times they met at Wimbledon, he's beat him. But I got a feeling that Novak gets put out a little bit earlier before he sees Roger. On the women's side, I'm going to go with Serena. I feel like Serena she knows that the best player in the world isn't, not technically, but she knows Osaka's not playing right now, and that's the one who really has her number. So I think she can go in with the mindset that she can win this tournament, and I think she comes out on top.
Real quick, PD, what part of the brackets have been fraudulent? I'd like to hear your opinion. Who you think the last 2 venue brackets should have been. I just wanted to see now in the comment bracket. I wanted to at least talk about that. For Wimbledon, I got Stefano Tsitsipas, right?
Like him.
I have him for the men.
Okay.
And then, listen, this is just such a pick because I like Coco Graf.
That's fine.
It's plus 1,700. I mean, I just love the way she plays.
I'm not kidding you when I tell you there's legit 14 women that can win that tournament.
Coco's one of them.
Agreed.
Coco, beware.
And there's probably 5 or 6 guys that could legit win it, and Tsitsipas is one of them. I'm a huge Tsitsipas guy.
Quick, give me, because I really want to get into your MLB topic.
Let's go.
Quick, give me your Euro Cup final.
We have the bracket.
We do.
Throw the bracket up for Euro Cup.
I don't know how it ended up this way because the
left
side
side loaded.
Is the bracket of death. Oh my god!
I just want the final.
I got you. I'll give you some time.
Go ahead.
My final is going to be Belgium versus Germany. And I am going to take Belgium. I picked Belgium before the tournament started, and I think that they have enough to get it completely done. That left side is 100% brutal, though. I think whoever comes out of left side for sure wins it, but I'm going with Belgium and Germany.
So think of it this way: Belgium's got to play Portugal,
then Italy, they got to play Italy, then probably France. Yep.
I just can't pick them to win it all. I'm gonna have Belgium versus England. I have the exact opposite. The winner of the England-Germany game, I think, makes it to the finals. I just think England beats them. So I have Belgium versus England, and just because I don't know if Belgium will be there, if I had to put money on it, I would take England.
This is a disaster.
It's not a disaster. It's fun.
I'm going to go with France on the left side. I do think they will have a little bit easier time.
That's Switzerland, Spain.
At the bottom.
Maybe Croatia.
Yeah.
Probably Croatia.
I'll take Spain.
Listen, that's a tough game because Spain just loves to kick the ball around for 80 minutes. Like, they kick it 5 feet at a time, and you just can't get the ball from them.
And they play a lot of defense.
And they do. So
defense.
Croatia's got guys, though, that just will score a goal out of nowhere.
Okay.
Be a good game. France, I think, is going to roll through Switzerland. I think France, again, gets a little bit of a break because those other 4 teams, well, not Austria, but Italy, Portugal, and Belgium are all top 6, 7 favorites coming into it. And I think when they finally meet them in the semis, they're going to be a little bit banged up. I think Belgium's going to beat Portugal. That Italy game, I don't know, though. I mean, Italy has played better than anybody in the tournament so far.
Who is your final?
I'll go France, Germany. Don't discount the Netherlands on that side, though. I mean, they're kind of under the radar this year, which is weird for them because they're a good team. I think Germany got their wake up call today. They had no business tying that game, none. I watched almost all of it. I will go France over Germany in the final. So I'll stick with France.
Okay, so you guys both had Germany beating England. So I guess I'll find out without I'm eliminated because you guys both know more about soccer than I am. But I'll take England over.
That's a game.
Belgium.
I mean, that game can go either way though. So you still have a good chance.
I
won't be.
I don't care.
I won't be surprised at all if England wins that game, especially the way Germany played today.
All right, so the reason I rushed through these last two topics, which they're topics we need to get into, but Shally told me he had like a buy or sell list again.
Yes, sir.
And we don't know the questions, and I love this shit because I answer so quickly and I'm so rapid fire with it. I just love this shit. Go ahead.
All right.
It's like Lou Brown in Major League. Yeah. I love this shit.
Go, coach.
I may move to England.
You want to go first, second?
I'm waiting on the question.
Okay.
Well, he's saying who wants to answer
I'll
first.
go first. That's fine.
All right. Which team stays in first longer, San Francisco or Boston?
San Francisco.
I agree. And I just, yes, I think Boston's going to collapse. They're not a good roster.
Problem is, too, Springer just came back. I don't know.
I think San Fran holds on till August, and then I think August they tank like a mow.
All right.
Just my opinion.
Next question. Give me percentage. Percentage that DeGrom wins NL MVP and Cy Young.
30% MVP. 30%. Oh, he's going to win Cy Young. 95% Cy Young. 30% NL MVP.
Give me 99% Cy Young.
Yeah.
I'll take 50% MVP. I think
Acuna's
it's going to be
winning.
him or Acuna.
Acuna's winning.
He's the odds-on favorite to win right now.
Who? DeGrom?
By betting wise,
That's
yes.
That makes sense. I just don't.
Yeah, I'll say 50% because it's going to be him or Acuna. So,
who was your favorite for AL MVP?
Vlad Clare.
Shohei Ohtani.
Vlad, 100% Vlad. Now, Ohtani is second to me. For Ohtani, what he did the other night in the first inning, that was ridiculous. He threw a 100-mile-an-hour fastball and then hit a home run. It's never been done in the first inning.
So for a guy to be able to do that, I think that gives him the slight edge over
fair.
Vlad.
It's fair. I think Vlad could win the Triple Crown. And if he
Not
does,
if Ohtani beats him in home runs.
That's not what it looks like right now.
Percentage chance that either the Dodgers or the Padres miss the playoffs.
60%.
Ooh, that's high.
I agree.
35%.
So
they're both in the wild card right now. So that's kind of the reason I asked that because of the question I asked first.
I think one of them fades the black. And speaking of black, welcome Phil Black to this. I'm just kidding.
Do the Yankees make the playoffs?
Yes.
You think they win the division or they get as a wild card?
I don't know. I was very high on them winning the division before the season started.
We all were.
I don't know. Between Tampa, I think it's going to be between Tampa and New York.
They're third in the division right now.
I know, but they're behind Boston.
Tampa's a game and a half out. New York is 4 out, depending on what happened.
Yeah, I mean, that's more to the point why I think San Fran will drop out. Will be longer because I think Boston's going to lose that shit soon. 2 weeks.
That's fair. I mean, that's why I was asking them.
Yeah, New York definitely makes the playoffs. I just don't know if they win the division. If I had to bet it, I would say no to make the playoffs.
Yeah,
95.
I go 70.
Okay.
To win the division?
No,
40.
Oh, okay.
I'm just saying.
Okay, gotcha.
I think I know your answer to this one already, but who was your biggest breakout star this year?
Yeah,
Flaggerall Jr.
Yeah, same.
That's what I thought you were going to answer. I wasn't sure about him.
Yes, Vlad.
Okay.
I mean, coming into the season, he was on both of our lists for top 10. Making the switch over to
100%.
first. So
He was. He's absolutely been better than I thought he was going to be,
correct.
though.
So yeah,
love to see it. Flip side of that, who's your biggest disappointment this year so
Hector
far?
Neris.
oh man.
I mean, he's so pathetic.
I can't get into
Sorry,
this.
I need to get into that. I'm sorry. He's not going to be one of you got to be kidding me.
Lucas Giolito.
That's fair. That's a really fair one.
He's kind of rebounded, though.
See, Hector Neris stinks. That's the problem. He disappointed me because he blew he had 5 blown saves now?
He blew another one today. Your opinion, who's the biggest name traded at the deadline?
Trevor Story.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a good one.
Wait, did you do that too quick? You
I
did
did.
that too quick.
I had to get it in there before you stole it.
Shit.
I thought you were going to say who I would have said.
I don't know.
There's two guys. That's one of them.
I don't want to lie and just like make something up. Like I don't know. You caught me off guard with this one.
Good.
Okay, do you have one?
I would have said Trevor Story, or I think Scherzer's going to get traded.
Okay.
Which would be ironic if we trade for him after all this.
Oh Jesus! No, there's no way.
They're not going to trade him in the division.
This is gonna sound really bad. Zach Wheeler.
What?
The Phillies are 15 games out.
We're not trading Zach Wheeler, bro. You're right. That does sound bad. To piggyback on that, this is the last one. Do the Phillies and Dombrowski make a big move at the trade deadline? If so, who do you think?
Yeah, they sell.
Well, I mean, you're doubling down on Wheeler.
My answer would be no.
No?
I think yes, and I think they're gonna sell. I think they're gonna sell.
There's no reason to go get a huge name, and I don't think you sell.
They have no. It's just a problem with the Phillies, guys, and this is what no one will admit or talk about. Their farm system stinks. Who's trading for? Like, how do the Phillies get anyone? Who do you want in the Phillies farm system? and to answer that question even further, if they had anyone in their farm system, don't you think they'd be playing with the big leagues right now? Anyone? They can't have it. Their bullpen stinks. Their backup. Oh Jesus Christ, man!
My thing is, I just think that you don't sell because you still have a glimmer of hope to try and make it be competitive in the division, and I don't think you buy because you don't go all out on somebody just to not make the playoffs. So I say they hold.
Guys, I don't mean to say this. I think they need to retool their farm system. I think they need to do better with that. But the problem is Dombrowski's not known for farm systems. He's known for dumping a whole farm system to go all in for.
He's a big name guy.
Ron Pulley, the Phillies bullpen.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, he pitches better than Maris. Jesus Christ.
The only person Naris or Ron hates more than Naris is Rhys Hoskins, and I'm fine with that too. Their farm system is not as bad as you think it is. The problem you have with it is everybody that's in it that's ranked highly right now are all super young. So they're not really at the point where you can go trade them.
Out of all teams in the league, what would you say? Bottom 5? Bottom 6 farm systems?
We're probably like the bottom third right now.
Bottom third? I would go 26th.
I don't know for that low.
I do.
I would say we're probably around like 20. We'll have to look it up. But
they stink.
They're definitely not going to sell. They're not selling Zach Wheeler. I mean, he's literally shown that he's. I mean, I'm not getting this argument again with anybody, but he's our best pitcher right now.
I agree.
He's locked up for another 4 years, I believe. He's not going anywhere. If they do anything, it's going to be buy, and I think the next couple weeks up until the All-Star break will probably give you an indication of what they're going to do.
They have a really, really ridiculously rough schedule, and they're not starting off very well with it.
No, I mean they're kind of in the middle of it right now. The problem, to Cottrell's point though, that division it's still winnable. I mean, as bad as they are, I think they're only 4 or 5 games out.
Mets are winning that division, running it away.
Probably. I mean, they're gonna get healthy and
they're gonna run away from the division. Any more?
No, that was the last.
We'll get into more next week. I want to get more on MLB. Let's get to you. Got to be kidding me, Cottrell Simpson.
I got 2. My first one's going to be an honorable mention. I don't have to have the sound effect with it. My honorable mention is James Harden. He decided he's going to play in the Olympics, but just a couple days ago he was so hurt and couldn't suit up for the Nets. And I gave him his credit on the show because I thought the hamstring injury was significant. I didn't think he'd be playing basketball anytime soon, but apparently that wasn't the case, and he's going to be playing for Team USA in the Olympics here. Oh, he did?
Just bailed.
Just bailed. Gotcha. Yep. Okay. All right. I'll take it back then.
He's still a scumbag.
He committed to it, so clearly the hamstring wasn't feeling too bad.
Clearly what happened
I think he got backlash.
He committed to it, and a lot of people around him are probably like,
wait a minute.
Terrible look, bro, and now he's not going.
Yeah, so
bad look, bro.
He'll still get my honorable mention. My official one, though, is Paulo Costa. This man pulled out of a fight against Jared Cannonier, and he pulled out because he said he wanted to make more money. Sure enough, it comes to find out that he just had a hair transplant, and now he's going to be out 6 to 12 months recovering from that. So did you really not want to fight Jared Cannonier because you wanted to make more money, or did you want to go get your hair fixed and be out 6 to 12 months? Paulo Costa, you are one of the best in the division, and now you're going to be out 6 to 12 months. I hope Dana doesn't even give you a chance to fight back in contention and sniff a title shot. So for that, this week, Paulo Costa.
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
So just to comment on that, I don't think he wanted the cannons from Cannonier.
My bigger question is, how did he think somebody wasn't going to find out?
Oh, don't get me started. This is why you got to be kidding me.
Like, do you not think, like, that's not going to float around or get out? Like, you're just going to show up in 12 months with a full head of hair, and everybody's going to be like, oh, like, you look different. Like,
go get your hair did, girl.
I hope.
It's a PD line. I love it. Go get your hair did, girl.
I hope Dana cuts him.
So do I.
Honestly.
Shally.
I have two that I want to do, but one's a legit rant, so I'm going to save it for next week because I'm sure between now and then he'll do something else to piss me off.
I love it.
So I'll just save it all for next week.
Exactly what that is.
Yes, you do. So I will just save that for next week. This week is going to be, I kind of mentioned it before, Louis Oosthuizen at the U.S. Open. I gave Xander Schauffele a bunch of crap when he hit a shot that he didn't have to hit in the Masters, and it cost him the tournament. I'm going to do the same thing for Louis. To Cottrell's point earlier, everybody all day was hitting the ball on the 17th tee to the right, bailing out, just hitting it in the bunker, getting up, down, making their par. That's all he had to do. All he had to do. He got greedy. He tried to cut the corner. Actually ended up hitting the ball left, hitting it out of bounds. And at that point, that pretty much cost him the U.S. Open because he then had to eagle 18. I think there was only 5 or 6 birdies the entire day on 17. It wasn't a birdie hole. It was a hole. You get in, you get your par, you get out, you go to 18, which is a par 5. They set it up that way so you had a chance coming in to get a birdie if you needed it. He easily could have done that. It's something he'll probably he's going to sleep on it for a long time. It's not something he's going to forget anytime soon. He's come up short in a couple majors as well on Sunday and come up short and played second or finished in second. Not played well, done bonehead things. He can add this to the list. So for 2 majors in a row, I will go with a golfer.
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
Mike, cue the video. How in the world? I'm going to be quiet. I want you to listen to the announcers. Go ahead.
Simmons, they cleared out for him. Tapping his way in. Spins on Gallinari. Gives it up. Oh, he was right there. And a foul as Thibault goes to the basket. Boy, Simmons, uncontested, had a layup, but he leaves it for Thibault, who makes something out of it and is headed to the line.
Well, but that's when you know that the game is in your head. That's a dunk for Ben Simmons right there. You got it, and I know you got it to Thibault, you got the free throws, but Ben Simmons, you got to shoot that shot, be confident.
All right, so I could not go a show without giving this one to Ben Simmons. There's zero chance. This is the most you got to be kidding me moment of the year of 2021. For him to be that scared, and like the announcers even said it, like you never hear announcers really just going in on players' mentality, their thought. Ben Simmons had a wide open dunk on a 6'1" point guard that he could have electrified that crowd in a game 7 and tied the game. That has to be my you got to be kidding me this week. I don't think it's even close, and it would be embarrassing for the show if not one of us did that. So I had to 100% hold Ben accountable for the softest move in the NBA. So for this week, Ben Simmons.
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
And, you see him, Joel, look at him like, what the hell are you doing? And he mouths, I thought he was going to jump.
Yeah.
You thought Trae Young was going to jump and block your shot?
He probably didn't think he was going to block his shot. He probably thought he was going to foul him, and he didn't want that.
That's fine.
Hold
the
moment.
If Trae Young, 6'1" Trae Young,
look, I'm not
affect your shot, bro. Trae Young can punch him in the face.
I'm not disagreeing with you.
He still should be able to flush.
I'm not disagreeing with you at all.
We're not disagreeing or defending. I'm just saying from a logical point of view, his train of thought makes sense. He still shouldn't have done it, but Matisse got to make the free throws too.
I guess.
That's got to be a dunk. I'm not even going to. Yes, yeah. Matisse has to make those free throws. That got to be a dunk.
I agree.
Got to be a dunk.
I'm not defending that.
I mean, it could have been an N1 if Trae Young dunked. And then Ben would have missed a free throw.
Yeah, it would have been
Still, it would have been 2 points with an opportunity for a rebound.
Absolutely.
Could have been a 4 or 5 point possession. Listen, Show 37's been hilarious and fun. I hope you guys enjoyed the Ben Simmons rant earlier. I know you have. I know we're not wrapping it up.
Okay.
Any final thoughts, Cottrell?
Yeah, so I got. I mean, it's all one, but the U.S. Olympic trials are going on right now. I'm going to give you a couple events to look out for. Tomorrow night, you got Sha'Carri Richardson in the 200 meter, and it's the first round 200 meter. She's going to be running at 9:30. She's one of the fastest U.S. women in the. Well, she's one of the fastest women in the world. She's obviously the fastest U.S. woman in right now.
Probably best. I mean, she might be the favorite. To win
100%.
The Olympics.
And then you got Reggie Jagers from Kent State University in the discus tomorrow at 10 p.m. right after the 200.
Figure we're gonna get a tie-in somewhere there.
Then on Friday you got Grant Holloway he's originally from Florida. That's where he ran. He's running the 110 hurdles. He is by far the favorite to win the 110 hurdles in the Olympics, and he's running at 5:30 on Friday. Those are the events I'm looking forward to watching.
Oh, Jesus Christ. I don't watch running.
Track and field's great.
I'm just messing around.
I've had a couple messages, too. We are going to cover the Olympics. We got to figure out how we're going to do it. It's going to be tough because we're only on once a week, and they are so far ahead time-wise. So we will come up with something for you guys, just so you know. I know a lot of people really get into the Olympics, as do I. I love it. I know you watch it a lot. I'm sure you do, too.
I do some.
Yeah.
Jackie Joyner-Kersee. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that was like 2 years ago. No, I'm just kidding. So, I mean, we will absolutely cover it. It'll be part of the show. We'll come up with something for you guys. We have to put our heads together and figure out how we want to do it. I mean, you're involved in this to some degree. So we talk about it on the show kind of like here and there. If you're familiar with it, obviously a lot of our listeners play softball, but me and Gene play softball. One of the cool things about softball is it's never hard to get people together to try to play softball, but also do it for a good cause. There's this weekend. I need everybody's help that's listening. A lot of you guys are already playing in it. Gene's playing in it. If you're
we
not,
have a raffle too.
Yeah,
or not raffle. A basket.
Yeah. So
Wire does.
If you can help out, there's a charity tournament going on this weekend in Horsham. It is being held for a lady by the name of Dee Dempsey. She is currently battling stage 4 lung cancer. She is the mother of a player that plays in the Keystone Softball League, which me and G know a lot of people. That's the reason I'm wearing the sweatshirt today. Rob's a great guy, runs a great league, gets a lot of help from Phil Black, who I actually play for, I'm friends with at SBA.
Scumbag.
Stop
I'm
it.
just kidding. I love Phil.
Her son Justin plays on Sunday mornings. So we're having a tournament. I unfortunately can't play. Gene has a team in, like he said, he already has a basket in. They're holding a tournament this Saturday to help raise money for her care. Everybody knows, what's going on in the country right now. A lot of people don't have a lot of expendable income, and if you're fighting cancer, it's probably even more so magnified. So if you want to help, you can email. If you just want to donate money, you can email charity@keystonesoftball.com. If you want to swing by, it's at Lucan's Park in Horsham. It's 540 Drescher Road, Horsham, PA, 19044. Tournament starts at 9, I believe.
Yep, and Wire to Wire's team starts at 9:50 if you want to come see us.
If you want,
we're going to be loaded.
If you want to stop by and donate in person, feel free to do that. Like Gene said, there's going to be a 50-50. There's baskets to buy tickets and try to win. There's different ways you can contribute. Anything you can give, if it's $5, $10, $20, whatever it is, email, give Rob a shout, email him. He'll give you a Venmo where you can send the money to donate for the charity, or just show up and watch him softball and have a good time. So anybody that can help would be more than appreciated.
Real quick to add to that, go up there. The baskets that are up there are awesome every year.
I've heard
they donate so much. Like I know Billy Brancato is I think he's donating like an Xbox.
There's an Xbox. He's doing a beer one, I believe, too.
Oh, he's doing a beer wall.
Yeah, it's we
got Phillies tickets with some wire-to-wire gear.
Yeah.
Like, the baskets are incredible. Come up there and donate and help out a great cause. I'll be playing in it. Come and laugh at me because I can't run. I stink. I can hit the ball a little bit. But yeah, Rob Lyons and Phil Black do a great job in running this. And to add to what Bill said, they have 15 teams in a charity tournament, in a one-day charity tournament. To me, that speaks volumes to what they do as a group.
It speaks volumes to what they do as a group, and it's also, again, it's a weird thing when people think softball, they don't think that, but softball, believe it or not, is a very tight-knit community when it comes to that stuff. You ever go to a charity tournament, you will never have a lock of teams that'll sign up to play. My tournament team plays every year in the breast cancer tournament in October because I have 2 guys on my team whose mothers have beat breast cancer. So it's gonna be a great day. It's gonna be fun. It's supposed to be gorgeous.
Shally said he's playing with us in the morning.
That is not true.
Charles gonna come out and swing his softball bat.
That's more likely to happen than me being there. I'm gonna play it eventually. The last couple of years have just been awful timing with other things I've had. So, but please, again, if you're not already playing in the tournament, if you can donate anything, every little bit helps. It will be greatly appreciated by everybody involved. So,
well, for that, show 37. This is Wire to Wire, and we're signing out.